Welcome to Make a Path Presents. I'm Ronnie Hayes, and today let's talk about The Walking Dead Season 10, out with the old and in with the new. Now we're going to dive straight into this. Most of you already know that Michonne is going to be leaving The Walking Dead in Season 10 within the first few episodes. I believe it's still confirmed that she won't be dying. She will be leaving kind of like Rick, where it leaves the possibility open that she could either return or, which is most likely the case, she will somehow in some way end up in the Rick movies. Now again, I don't believe these are confirmed, but I believe that is the idea. Like, Michonne's only going to be in a few episodes, but don't worry, she's going to be bouncing around. You guys, they're prepping us for what's to come as far as, it seems, blending the universe. The world of The Walking Dead is becoming even more blended since Fear the Walking Dead. We've been getting a sneak peek at pretty much just a helicopter that took Rick. It's that group. We saw a person from that group, the helicopter. They're trying to make the world a little smaller and make the shows a little more connected. So we know Michonne is out. And it appears, we don't have official confirmation, but it appears that they are in fact casting for the princess. I know some of y'all are going to love this, but they are in fact casting for the princess. Now, the reason why I connect it with Michonne is because we are losing one strong female character, and Michonne is a character similar to the princess. When Michonne came up on the scene in the comic, she looked like a hooker with zombie pets. It was a pretty cool cover, it was wild. She had like this crazy 80s skirt on, you know what I mean? It was wild. Anyway, so she had this flair, strong female character with this flair. Same thing for Princess. Now, the character in the comic didn't build up as much as far as character development goes in the comic with the princess. As much as Michonne, not even close, and that's because the comic introduced her. She was in the story here and there, and then the comic book ended. So there wasn't really much purpose for Princess. I'm assuming if Kirkman kept writing the comic, he would have possibly utilized her a little more. So it leads us to question, why is she even coming into the show? I mean, what is the absolute purpose? Unless it's like, okay, we think she has a big enough fan base, and we can do something big enough for the show, so let's pop her in since we are losing Michonne, and maybe we can build, because again, they have those similarities. Strong female character, and she's got that flair to her, visually as well. They both stood out on their covers. Princess maybe a little more because her whole jacket is this whole pink mess, this furry pink mess. Other than that though, she's got a cool look to her design as far as this survivor out on her own. Now, the casting news, let's get right into this. It's not official yet. I believe there's, from what I hear, there's some spoiler sites that are saying she's being looked at for casting for the back half of Season 10. Now, we don't get into spoilers, but I'm going to mention the spoiler sites because we don't deal with death spoilers. We don't deal with story or plot spoilers like ruining what's coming up and yada yada yada. Casting is one of those gray areas where it doesn't matter because it's a secret now, but soon they're going to announce it and it won't be a secret, so it doesn't matter. We always hear about casting and they always put them in the promos or the teasers before. It's usually almost never a surprise. That's why I don't really count casting as a secret. It's not that big of a deal. But it's not just the spoiler community saying they're casting it, but there is somebody on the inside, and I'm going to keep this pretty general, but just to let you know the idea of what we're working with. The person on the inside has been verified to confirm a number of different things like Ryan Hurst for the beta casting and other things like that, but they saw something that would indicate the princess casting is in the works and it's a definite. So it looks like we will be getting this character for Season 10, the back half. Now, if we can talk just briefly about where this story goes, In the comic book, now that we know where it ended, we can see that the Commonwealth storyline, which is important because that's where the princess came into the story. Our main characters found the princess on the way to this community called the Commonwealth. And the whole story ended up being a mirror of everything Rick has already gone through. You know, he had the bad governor, and now we have this other governor from the Commonwealth. He has all these situations that mirrors almost his whole story of survival up until this point, and he makes the decision to band together and work together for the betterment of the people, and in the end, it ended up being the catalyst or the big moment to pull all the communities together to work together. And again, the Commonwealth was such a huge one, they were able to install their own president, their own boundaries and borders and all that. So they have it all set up, and they skip, ahead in time 15, 20, 25 years. And for the most part, it's going really well, and it's like a happily ever after, as much as you could in the post-apocalypse. Now again, the Commonwealth in the comic, now that we can look back, is to complete the end of the Rick Grimes story. So in the show, I don't think they even need the Commonwealth. It looks like they can take the ideas from that, some of it, and put it towards the Rick movies and leave it out of the show for now and take the show in a different direction of survival and, all that. And the princess will likely be somebody they encounter on the road, most likely similar to, her comic counterpart. She's alone on the road. She runs into our group, and then she ends up tagging along. It's on some type of mission. And then from that point on, she assimilates with our group and becomes, again, another character, another strong female lead with a little vibrant flair to her look. What they're going to do as far as something big with the character, I'm not sure. You can leave your thoughts and opinions down below. We're just talking about a couple different ideas. I'm not going to go all crazy in any type of speculation. Just want to say pretty much, yeah, we are losing Michonne. If they do something right, we could have a nice replacement with the princess. I'll admit, certain visual flares just look kind of silly in a post-apocalyptic theme. There's always something you can do that works, though. So hopefully in the show, the princess character is actually utilized for the story, and it's good. So we'll see. With the princess casting, what else do you think is coming up? And do you think they're going to keep the Commonwealth at least similar, at least a little bit in the main series part of the storyline? Or do you think they're going to be changing things up? Since now it doesn't actually matter what the comic did anymore. We can go into The Walking Dead and the comic don't matter when it comes to the story. Could they use some comic elements? Sure. But at this point in time, the Whispers is the only thing that will likely be comic accurate. After that, I don't see what the point is to keep anything similar to the comic. Because again, the comic storyline the comic Commonwealth storyline was to finish up the Rick Grimes story. It was almost solely about the Rick Grimes story, the character, the conclusion, this whole story arc, but also prop up the foundation of what would come to be the happily ever after for Carl Grimes, his daughter Andrea, yada, yada, yada. So again, it was the wrapping up of Rick's and the propping up of the foundation of Carl's whole ending, his happily ever after. Rick is gone in his movies and Carl is dead. So there's almost no reason for the Commonwealth unless AMC is going to give us a larger community and then start weaving the story. And we've talked about this in the past. This is possible. They can weave the story less around scavenging in the outside world and more about the inner workings of this huge community. And again, you might say, oh, well, what would the point of that be? it would be a massive budget saver. If you could take a little character doing some part of the story where he runs into a couple zombies, still make it seem exciting, and then build up off of something that's established sets where they don't gotta deal with setting a scene. I know we talked about this before and people were like, oh, come on, it doesn't take that much money to, make the world look post-apocalyptic. And I just don't think they're thinking of what they're saying, because you're talking about a whole street length, multiple buildings, the entire street. I mean, even if it's CGI, that's going to hit the budget. But imagine if they had this huge community and they could just pick normal places, because again, the Commonwealth looks like our world today. You might string up a couple little things to make it look like they're using solar power here and there, but again, you can literally just pick anywhere and film and say it's a part of the, inside the Commonwealth. You don't have to dress the set and make it look destroyed and burnt out and gross and yada yada yada. That is a possibility for big chunks of the story. I know some people say, oh, they would never do it, and they might never do it, but it is a possible road for them to take. And again, I'm trying to cover all bases here, but we're not talking about that as the only future of The Walking Dead. That could be a possibility for them to do for a chunk for half a season. Even being able to dodge the budget for a half a season would save them greatly. So keep in mind, I'm only talking about certain chunks of seasons, not like the future of The Walking Dead is going to be without zombies and it's going to be a soap opera within a huge community. No, we're talking about some chunks of story that would be or could possibly be a refreshing and surprising twist, a different look at these characters in this whole alien type environment that is more civilized, knowing there's a destroyed world all around them, you know what I mean, before we get back out there in that world. Anyhow, thoughts and opinions in that comment box. I'm done talking. It's your turn. Hey, don't forget, if you haven't heard, we have now released Doomsday Kingdom issue number 4 digitally, and if you are interested in reading issue number 1 and you haven't read it yet, for a limited time it's going to be free on our website, doomsdaykingdom.com. Check out issue number 1 digitally for free, and we also have issues 2, 3, and 4 all available digitally, as well as a new physical restock coming in a couple weeks, and the announcement of issue number 4's first physical stocking coming up soon. So check it out, doomsdaykingdom.com. Thank you very much.